Okay, guys, today we are going to do an activity called repeated reading. And the purpose of repeated reading is to improve your oral reading fluency. We're going to be working on two of the three parts of oral reading fluency today, reading accuracy and reading rate. Reading accurately and emphasizing the reading at an appropriate rate does not mean reading as quickly as possible. What I want to remind you guys about is that improving oral reading fluency is important because fluent reading allows a reader to focus on comprehending the text, comprehension, which means understanding the text, not just reading it and being able to say the words, but understanding what you're reading. And reading errors and reading at an inappropriate rate can help contribute to comprehension difficulties. So having accurate reading and a good reading rate can help you with comprehension. So this repeated reading activity is all about getting that accuracy and reading rate down so that you can start to comprehend everything that you're reading a little easier. One example I could just say real quick is if someone is reading something to you and it says the boy went to the school was at this place, and it's just too fast. It's hard for you to understand what's going on. You need to slow down so that you don't make as many errors, and it can make comprehension a lot easier. Okay, so what we're going to do today for that, first I'm going to show you, of course, then we will do some guided practice and do it together. And then after guided practice, you guys will each be able to work with a partner to do this activity, okay? So we are going to set some goals at the beginning of each of these repeated reading sessions that we do. And setting these goals really helps us as readers outline specific strategies or behaviors that will help us reach those goals, okay? So goal setting is really just making a plan for success so that we can further our reading skills, okay? At this point, then, I would show, I can't do it on my computer right now, but I would show the oral reading fluency reflection guide, and we would reflect on some strengths and weaknesses of oral reading in previous practice sessions. So maybe last session, I was just reading way too fast, and I was just trying to get a good rate going, and I wasn't being very accurate, and I was missing lots of words. So maybe that's what I need to focus on. So basically, we would just look at some of the strengths and weaknesses from our past reading activities. And then we can start to make goals from that as well for our future readings so that we can improve. So I'm going to model some fluent reading, and what I want you to think about is how quickly I'm reading and to consider why this rate is important to the reading fluency and understanding of the text. So I want you to pay attention to what a fluent reader does while reading, particularly when maybe they are approaching a section that is tricky or an unknown word or making a mistake, what they might do when approaching that. So what I'm going to do is I've got a short passage back here, and as I read, I want you to just listen to maybe some errors that you might hear along the way. So it would look something like this. I have a reading excerpt called Ernest and the Elevator. So I'm going to read that right now, and you guys just listen for my accuracy and my rate, okay? Ernest and the Elevator. Liam has a dog named Ernest. He is a very good dog. Ernest rarely barks. He never bites. He's very well behaved, except that he loves chewing Liam's shoes. Every day after school, Liam takes Ernest for a walk. Time for a walk, Ernest, Liam calls. Ernest wags his tail and runs over to Liam. Liam clips Ernest's leash to his collar. Liam and Ernest live in an apartment building. Ernest does not like to ride the elevator. Every day, Liam tries to get Ernest to go into the elevator, and every day Ernest refuses to go inside. So as you noticed, students, when I was reading that, I had good expression. I wasn't reading too fast or too slow. And anytime if you saw me approach a word where I kind of stumbled, I sounded it out. And then I said the whole word together and I kept moving on. Okay, so that's a good strategy to break that word down and sound it out if you need some help. Okay. So now I would show the goal setting template and reflect basically with the students right now how I did, where some of my goals might be setting. Basically, after I read how to set goals and how to further that accuracy and that rate with your reading. So at this point, students, I would ask you to reflect on their own reading and identify your own strengths and weaknesses. So you would look at that reflection sheet and identify maybe one or two strategies and positive behaviors on which they will focus during the present lesson. So basically, find a couple strategies or that you want to focus on for this that maybe you've been struggling on in the past. And then at this point, I would assign you each a partner. And I would provide the students with the text. So we wouldn't be reading this, but I'd have something very similar, and the students would read that. They would sit down with their partners and briefly preview the procedures for repeated reading and outline the role of the listening partner and the reader. Okay? So throughout the lesson, students will read the entire passage 3 times and hear their partners read the entire passage 3 times. Therefore, the text should be a length of about 60 to 90 seconds. The more fluent reader in the pair should read first. Each of the reading passage should follow these 3 steps. The reader begins reading when he or she is ready. The other student should say, ready, set, go. So the reader reads the entire the entire text aloud, focusing on reading at an appropriate rate and with minimal errors. As you listen, the reader's oral reading, he or she marks pronunciation errors. And if the reader does not correctly identify a word within about 3 seconds, the coach or the reading partner can then help them, okay? So then when you would be done with that, you would implement the error correction procedure. So we would go over the next sheet, which basically just talks about how the correct way to correct an error when you reach that. So yeah, great job today, students. And after the final reading, the teacher should lead the students in using the oral reading fluency reflection guide to reflect on the outcome. Ask your students to consider the reading and behavioral strategies that either helped or hindered them in this fluency activity. Support students in determining if they need to focus on different or additional strategies in the next session. And then finally, lead the students in setting a goal for the next session. What was still something that they struggled with today? So what is something you think next time you can improve on? Because we all know that we can consistently improve on our reading and our reading skills. So that would be the lesson for here. So it is a partner, oral reading fluency, repeated reading. Yeah, thanks.